Field Report, March 1st, Hauptmann Robert Meyer, 1. Jagdgeschwader, Naples. In the early hours, my wing was on patrol, launching from the airfield at Naples to cover our troops' advance near Terni. At around 0700, we spotted enemy bombers approaching from northwest and turned to intercept. We were surprised to find them having an escort of biplanes with Italian Syndicalist markings of a manufacture we had not encountered before. There were no match for our Bf-109As, and we quickly dispatched them. One craft went down damaged close to our front lines. I radioed field headquarters and informed them of this. Classified. Field Report, March 1st, General von Kluge, Commander Papal Expeditionary Force, Rome. Field Command near Terni received reports of previously unknown aircraft in the skies and that one may have crashed near our lines. They sent a squadron to try and retrieve the plane and the pilot if possible. After inspection of the wreck and interrogation of the cooperative airman, we learned that the craft was a Letov S-16 reconnaissance model flown by an Austrian pilot. Given the potential political ramifications, I have instructed the distraction of the wreck and we keep the pilot under strict supervision. Still, I fear news of the Austrian involvement in this affair will not be kept secret for long. As it turns out, over Italy we have Austrian Imperial biplanes acting as fighter craft to try and desperately cover for Syndicalist bombers. Austria, we might need to talk. That is quite interesting indeed to see that happening. I don't think I've seen Austrian troops on the ground. I've seen British troops on the ground, but and obviously French troops, but Austrian troops not quite yet. So I wonder what's going on here. That aside, the situation is as follows. We are still advancing in Serbia, and I think we are encircling the last remaining troops, the last remaining enemy troops here near Pristina, and hopefully we can force Serbia to drop out. And that frees up troops to probably assault Romania next in the north, expanding the bridgehead that the Bulgarians have been creating, which then only leaves Greece as the last combatant, and hopefully that grinding and grueling attack there is going to come to an end soon as well. Things are not going quite as well in the American Union. Union troops are exhausted, they're out of manpower, they're out of equipment, they're out of ammunition, and they get literally overrun at all points, at all fronts at this point, both from the north and from the west. So we can only hope that we've done enough damage. We will try to do some rearguard actions and see if we can have an opportunity to destroy some more Syndicalist troops here. But it's clear that at this point, the Syndicalists are probably the strongest faction in the United States. MacArthur's troops are still battling it out with the Pacific states and are losing on that front. It might come down to a showdown between the combined syndicates and the Pacific states, depending on, because it's unlikely that MacArthur can hold in a two-front war. So this might end up being an East versus West civil war, and we might actually have to send some support to the Pacific states. For now, we'll try to fight some rearguard actions and see if we can have an opportunity to destroy some enemy troops, but we might even not be able to hold Charlotte. And I think the onslaught of Syndicalist divisions at this point is too strong that we cannot stem that with the 4 divisions that we have available here. We do have the second group of divisions now in Rome, so that's going to have to be group number 4, and we have another group in the princely states. That would be group number 5, which are supposed to be moving to the north. Let's see if we can get them, if we can motivate them to do so after they have arrived. Can I get you to railroad to the front lines, please? Let's get you to Hyderabad, and then from there to the front lines, and then you can spread out from there. Yeah, okay. Troops on the move. Roman volunteers. We have where are we? Sicilian. Yeah, we have an opportunity here for a breakthrough. Unfortunately, the papal insurrection in the north has been squashed, and the counter-attacking Italian troops have just managed to close the gap. We are running low on supply, and I doubt that we can hold this position, but we're trying our best to see if maybe, just maybe, we can make a break towards the coast, encircle the southern divisions here, and force the Italians into a major defeat. If that's not going to work, we'll fall back and look for another opportunity to maybe break across the river towards the north, and see if we can cut off enemy troops here near the port. We do have the control of the air over Italy now, with 2 Jagdstaffeln in the air. The frantic ground support is able to deal with these things. So we will see how that works out. And yes, we have the Black Monday under control. The British-Irish situation we have under control. Unfortunately, the Bavarian nullification crisis we not so much have under control, because our last attempts at getting the votes have been in vain. We're still ahead, but we still need 10 more votes in order to ensure that Bavaria is not successful in their attempt of dispatching von Schleicher here. Counterattacks along the lines. I have some mountain troops here. I'll send them in as well, and we will see if we can manage to break through somewhere here. But we do have to keep an eye on the Union volunteers. We are not going to be able to hold Charlotte, so at this point I'm going to even remove the defensive lines. We're going to be falling back from. It would be nice if we could manage a counterattack to encircle the divisions here, but that would mean that we would actually need to reinforce Charlotte. The problem is, if we reinforce Charlotte, they'll cut us off in the south. So I don't know how much we're going to be able to do, but we are definitely losing Charlotte. So I'm already going to fall back from Charlotte, and none of this is particularly defensible terrain, unfortunately. But we'll see if opportunity arises. So the hotter fight right now is over in Sicily, and we are sending more troops in, trying to hold back this onslaught here. Unfortunately, they are going to be relatively low on supply, but okay, we have held. Now the problem is we don't have the fighting power to. And I am going to shrink the front line here to ensure that these troops are there. We don't have the fighting power to break 3 enemy divisions, and they are holding Ancona, the port. So ideally we'd push towards the coast here through the hills, but we may have to wait for them to move out, and I might leave 1 division here just to ensure that we're not getting cut off here. I've got 2 tank divisions for a potential counterattack, but they're not going to do me much good without fuel. So we'll see if these troops are moving out, and if we can manage to. Yeah, we're not going to break through. I doubt we're going to be able to break through here. We can try. We'll send everything in we have. And we'll see if we can manage to break through. And I might need. Okay, Luxembourg, you wait. I might need 1 division to pin the troops here in Ancona. Okay. Everybody else concentrate the attack in the north. And then we'll deal with Luxembourg. Luxembourg has sort of been on the table during the Belgian crisis. And we have kept them under. So hopefully they're grateful. The Grand Duchy of Luxembourg is the youngest constituent state of the empire, only officially joining its ranks in 1919 via a treaty of accession in return for keeping sovereignty over its own affairs and being granted a broad array of special privileges. While limited liberalism arrived in the wake of the post-war March reforms, Luxembourg's regional politics remained dominated by an elite of local dignitaries and Catholic conservatives, in a more or less obvious pact with the rather unpopular right-wing Catholic Grand Duchess Maria Adelheid. The Luxembourgian Party of the Right An autonomous branch of the Zentrum, similar to the Bavarian People's Party, is infamous for being one of the hotbeds of the Catholic corporatist movement in the empire, and sympathy for openly radical right-wing ideas reaches into the government's highest cadres. The dominance of the political right, paired with the close proximity to the communards, these guys, I still feel that sounds like an insult, and the increasing radicalism of the local working class in the plethora of coal fields and steelworks has reinforced the Grand Duchy's role as a stalwart bulwark of anti-syndicalism. Our own interests are therefore congruent with theirs, which could be beneficial to persuade Luxembourg to support our domestic political agenda for the greater good of the national interest. Then again, as a prime ally of Bavaria in the federalist axis, Luxembourg might be reluctant to openly abandon their associates in Munich, especially as the targeted government is also dominated by right-wing Catholics. So, Luxembourg, very conservative, very right-wing. We had that. They did try to pass a law to censor certain things. Ally of Bavaria. So we can't. Winnig is not going to do anything here. He's SPD. We could either to talk about forging a stronger empire. This should be something that the Luxembourgians might be interested in, given the risk and the fact that they are a frontline state. Then again, the other frontline states haven't really been cowed by French threats either. Or we can effectively backbite the Bavarians. I think the whole strong empire thing is too much of a centralist part, given that they're pretty independent. So probably the best we can try, and they have two votes. The best we can try is focus on, is trying to convince them that what Bavaria is trying to do is weakening the empire, and as such causes risk of a French incursion. So we'll do that. And they stand with Bavaria, unfortunately. So once again, another 2 votes for Bavaria. And we are now, how far are they now? They're at 14 votes, we're at 22. So not going so well right now, but we should be moving towards more of the heartland, and hopefully we'll we have more success in the north, which isn't necessarily Catholic standing with Bavaria here. So we'll see how it goes. What else? 10 days until that ticks over. Still the British aren't moving, only 23 days, so that's quite interesting. Our operatives are still busy in Russia, but they should be coming back soon. And the we are the hot area right now is Sicily. Okay, we are fighting losing battles in the mountains here, so let's not do that. Let's defend for now. And I was kind of hoping that Serbia would have given up by now, but it seems to be not the case. So Serbia is still at 86%, so we might actually still have to attack. Okay, let's position our troops for a potential attack at Pristina, which would kick Serbia out. Although I'd be more interested to actually encircle and destroy some divisions, but this is all mountainous territory, so that is not particularly it is not a particularly great prospect. So let's see if we can position everybody here and plan a push towards Pristina, and see if we can get that organized. Okay. Meanwhile, how's this looking? We are successful in the attack, but these are two relatively well entrenched. So if it's not for if the Air Force can't break them, then we might not be able to do this. We have another division here potentially that I am going to send in. So we get rid of that line, assign them to the order, and they are going to take over pinning the divisions near Ancona, and we'll see if we can manage that. I might also be sending the tanks in for a secondary. Do we have terrain? No, this is all mountainous terrain. It's terrible for tanks. So yeah, not too much we can do. Nicaragua wants to increase ties. That would be in Central America. Nicaraguan ambassador has recently come to us with a deal. In an attempt to escape American influence, they want to open up a new trade deals with our country, along with diplomatic ties. Nicaragua is in favor of us, and I think we did help them earlier on. So, yeah, given that America is most certainly not going to be on our side at this point, I would say hooray for new friends. So Nicaragua is on our side. And that gives us a hook, another hook into Central America. All right, we do need to keep an eye on the Union volunteers. Yes, we have been pushed out of Charlotte, and I think at this point, I don't even know where to create a defensive line anymore, because this whole cauldron here is going to collapse. We could try to fall back towards... Yeah, counterattacks are futile at this point, I feel. Let's get back to a defensive line. Do we still fight? Because the Union is collapsing. These divisions have nothing. They have a couple of militias here, but they are about to fall, and there's nothing we can do with the 4 divisions that we have here to prolong this. I was hoping that we could destroy some of these divisions, but it's highly risky. So I think at this point I am going to have to retreat, because if we try to cut off and destroy some divisions, given the sheer amount of opposition that we're facing here, what is this? Just the ones we can see. That's 4, 8. That's 13, 14. That's a full field army here. And we have nothing, because all these divisions are under strength, and they have no more weapons. And these are mostly just militia divisions here. So I think we are going to have to return our volunteers from the Union. There's not an awful lot else we can do here, and I don't want to necessarily lose these. And that means we could try to get we can't even hold here. We could try a last defensive line, at Columbia and Charleston. So let's try to fall back here and see if we can make our ways into the swamps here, and see if we can hold the line there. But I think they're getting rolled up here. And we're at massive danger of being overrun. So I'm not confident, especially with Sicily going on. And yeah, I think this has been a bridge too far. We are not breaking these divisions here, no. So I think that has been too much. Stop the attack. We'll hold a little bit longer and see if an opportunity arises here, but I think most of the enemy divisions are escaping, and it's just too many. We're not breaking through that. Not out of exhausted and out of supply as we are, and these are not even assault divisions. Now, we are going to have another go where we actually have supply, which is going to be in the north. And we'll see if we can get through here. Although that's mountainous terrain, yeah, it's not ideal either. We might launch. We can try to launch an attack northwards and see if we can breach them here towards Ravenna, while they're holding in the south here. Okay, computing machines finished, and I think we are caught up here pretty much. Improved fire control will be something we need at some point. How are we doing here? Advanced machine tools, excavation. How are we doing on material? We're good on material. We don't need the excavation techs just yet. But I have the next tanks coming in 120 days. So let's make sure that we have all the weapons that we need. That is still slightly ahead of time. How about the other tank techs? Improved engine and improved armor protection would be It just unlocks the higher. They're relatively fast tech, so I don't think there's much we have here in terms of tanks that needs doing immediately. The Sturmgewehr 40 would be something we could do. That's a little bit ahead of time still, and I think I might. How's the airplane tech? This is getting relatively close as well, so. Getting heavy machine guns would be very, very crucial for our fighters as well. Or we could go for the advanced machine tools. How are we on production efficiency? We are reaching the cap with some of them, but we're not quite there yet. And as such, we probably don't need that just yet. So probably the better investment. We have a lot of naval techs to do that I haven't gotten around to, so that's coming at some point. I think I'll rush into the 150mm artillery, because that's gonna, first of all, that allows me to switch to production relatively early, and this should unlock the this gives me the medium cannons or the medium howitzers that I could use. I'm thinking of an all-purpose medium tank, so I could build SPGs and medium tanks. 15 cm schwere Feldhaubitze. Yeah, I think I'll rush into that tech just so we can get the 1938 tanks, the medium tanks, decently outfitted, and get them start ramping production up for these things, because that's going to take a while until they become available. And that gets us into Rheinmetall. Okay, so assault north and support from here. We'll see if we can break through this mountain position here with some air support, but it's not going to be easy. I think none of this is going to be easy, but unfortunately most of the divisions are managing to get out from there now. More importantly, how's the Union looking? Okay, we are returning to our lines here. We'll see if we can hold the Columbia-Charleston line, and we'll see if we can have a little bit of time to dig in. But there's a decent chance that they're coming behind us and cut us off. So we'll try to dig in behind the river line here and see if we can. We might actually have to forego Columbia and just hold like this, so we have a chance to, yeah, that's better. So they're not gonna be able to cut us off here easily, and we'll try to just dig in for a little bit. Get me a division north, please, and I need another division. Actually, no, this is fine. You stay here. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can get my divisions to. Actually, that'd be a terrible idea. Let's go there. See if I can get my divisions to dig in somewhat. And yeah, we are not getting through here, not at all. So I think at this point we are going to probably abandon this position, because we are outstretched. We've outstretched our supply lines. And we're not breaking these. We're not breaking the Italians in the north here. So let's move out from this position. Get our supply back, and wait for another opportunity. Without supply, we're not breaking through. We have taken the port here in the south, so this might be territory where we could try a. This is hilly. I don't want to cross the rivers here. More keen to try a break here, but right now the enemy positioning doesn't allow that, so we'll fall back, replenish our supplies, and deal with the situation at home first. All right, Grand Duchy of Hesse. Conservative circles in Berlin had the reputation of the Grand Duchy of Hesse-Darmstadt hasn't been all too great in the recent past. Under the leadership of the recently deceased Grand Duke Ernst Ludwig, Hesse transformed into one of the empire's foremost cultural centers during the last 50 years. A very progressive political and cultural climate fostered both the emergence of art styles that were not inherently in accordance with Wilhelm II's extremely traditionalist stance on the fine arts, and the fruitful cooperation between most local political parties, very much to the delight of Ernst Ludwig, who was long denounced in the capital as the Red Grand Duke. Since late 1937, the state's liberal traditions are carried on by the new Grand Duke Georg Donatius, but even more importantly, by the progressive Black-Red-Gold coalition, which has governed the country uninterrupted since the end of the war. The Social Democratic State Minister Bernhard Adelung is known for his relatively skeptical opinion about us, and is quite likely that Hesse will flock to Bavaria's side in the Bundesrat in an effort to defend the sovereignty of the states south of the Main. Therefore, our chances to sway Darmstadt are not the most stellar. We can promise to lift the Enabling Act, which we obviously aren't going to do. We can send Winnig to renegotiate, given that he is an SPD left-leaning partner. That might be our best option. Yeah, we'll try to send Winnig and see if that that's 3 votes. See if that works, and they stand with Bavaria. So, yes, another one down, and things are getting unpleasant here in the Bavarian nullification crisis. They're at 17 votes, we're at 22, so it's getting very, very close for von Schleicher's future. The British are still not moving, 16 days until Ireland, and I think, yes, we have completed the infiltration of the Russian civilian administration, so our operatives have returned. And we should now have a somewhat better idea what Russia is looking like economically. So they have 89 civilian factories, 32 military factories, compared to our 153.49. Not much in terms of dockyards. And the French, we don't know quite yet. The British obviously have the sea power, so we'll see what we can do next. But we might be... Well, given that we've already infiltrated the Russians here, we'll rebuild our intel networks in the area. And we will try and see if we can maybe steal some blueprints or something from them. And see if we can get some research out of that. Otherwise, we could just try and weaken them in the east while we deal with everything else. Union. How's our defense line looking? I might need 2 divisions up north here, and then we will try to just hold the line here for a bit and see if an opportunity arises. But given that they're already at Montgomery, it's very rapidly falling apart here. Sicily, yeah, we're moving back into positions, and I am going to give the tank divisions. There's no good position here, so I'm going to position them in the south and see if we can make a breakthrough towards Livorno. Because once we are through these blasted mountains and hills, there's open territory, and the tanks have an opportunity to approach La Spezia, Florence, and all kinds of positions. But I'd love to get through here. I'm just not seeing it happening right now. So we'll return these divisions here, except for the. We might just leave the mountain division here. That one mountain division, we leave it here without lines, or we give them a front line, and we will see just the mountain division, and we will see if we can. No, don't attack, just the front line, and an offensive line north, and the other 4 move over there. That's one division. Okay, that. Offensive line goes, and the mounted division, the Erste Gebirgsdivision, gets an offensive line to try and push there, and these 4 divisions are going to move here for now, and potentially try to push towards Ravenna, but we'll see how that turns out. First of all, we'll get everybody recovered, settled in, and then we'll see if an opportunity arises. Union volunteers are still fighting a retreating battle, so please retreat from this position here as quickly as you possibly can, and then reinforce the northern lines here once you get there. Sicily, okay, we are stable like this, and we're holding the lines here. I will probably extend the front line here for these 4 divisions, yeah, because I don't trust the Italians to hold the line here by themselves. We might be able to counterattack somewhere, but we don't have enough supply. We actually hold a second. Oh, they've managed to take a second position near Ancona. We may be able to put. How's the supply situation? Supply situation is still dire. We might be able to push through here towards Ancona. So that could work. We'll give it a try. Just a little surprise assault at Ancona. We're not sending the Mountaineers in yet. They're reinforcing again. They're shuffling divisions around quite a bit. We'll send the divisions in the assault here, and we have support from the mountain divisions in the north, and we'll see if we can take the port. That might be our best option. The economy has recovered. A long period of economic downturn has finally come to an end. A long series of strategic government policies to alleviate the malaise have finally had their effect, and for the first time in years, Germany has reached pre-1934 industrial production levels. Not only have the effects of the economic crisis sparked by Black Monday been curtailed, but also the instability that set in the markets ever since the election of Boris Savinkov in the Russian Republic. Now that productivity and employment have been restored to stable levels, emergency economic controls can be loosened and financing for other government programs expanded. The hair has been itching to initiate major reforms, and the leadership has already begun lobbying members of the Reichstag to finance ambitious rearmament projects. Long live the unsurpassed empire. And Black Monday is over. 10% base stability. Thank you. So that whole thing's gone. So now the very interesting question for me is, so the industrial projects are still there, but what is happening to the things here? Because this makes no more sense to actually. We can bypass this. Okay, so this is bypassed. So we can. Okay, so this is all stuff we can do. We can't bypass this. Sekretariat für Arbeitsbeschaffung, because this doesn't just give us a Black Monday thing, but it also gives us decisions. Okay, so all of these decisions are actually still there, right? I thought these would all go away once Black Monday ends. So we definitely have to. We might have to do Sekretariat and the Kaiser Wilhelm Society at some point. But there's a lot of things that we can now bypass that are effectively no longer a thing. I just want to clear them out so it looks cleaner. So all of this is no longer happening. This obviously was the Rathenau-Plan. Nothing here happens, and that means we're pretty done up here for now. Eventually, probably want to have the next research slot. More importantly, now we are going to go into the military and preparedness. Over in Serbia, our divisions are now at the gates of Pristina, so we'll probably launch the assault here and see that we can take the enemy capital and then just make an end to this. Honestly, the Union. Okay, we've established positions at. We've established fallback positions in the US, and we'll dig in here for now. We don't have a huge amount of entrenchment, but we are relatively close to being able to actually taking a doctrine. And I am very much thinking of spending 50 political power on the Grand Battle Plan doctrine, because that gives us a significant boost on entrenchment. And the alternative would be superior firepower, which is better for aggression. 10% soft attack is not bad, but the early entrenchment, especially if we're fighting a defensive war, can be extremely powerful. So given the overall world situation, we don't know yet how the American Civil War is going to turn out. It is possible that they're going to turn syndicalist. Italy looks like we will be probably able to turn to our side. Austria-Hungary, I'm not too sure about, but Europe looks reasonably stable. So we're probably just going to be facing the British and the French here, as well as the Russians in the east. And not to forget the Norwegians. So they are syndicalist as well. They've joined the Third International. Sweden is part of the Reichspakt, so that's another area where we will have to fight. And yeah, India, we don't know yet how that's turning out, and potentially Japan can become a problem as well. They are making their way through the Philippines at this point. I think they are about to take Manila. So it looks like Japan is rapidly expanding, and that might be something we will have to deal with at some point. But for now, yeah, German East Asia is still trying to deal with the insurrection here. It's still not making any progress. Are they... yeah, they're planning another naval invasion towards Saigon. That would be ideal if they could make that happen. And I think if they take the capital, this will all fall. But they actually have to manage to take and hold Saigon. So hopefully that can happen at some point. Kingdom of Siam is part of the co-prosperity sphere, which means that in a potential conflict, there might be a potential conflict with Japan on the horizon here as well. And yes, Russia is further expanding into Turkestan and other areas. So, we will see how it all turns out. But I think the Grand Battle Plan doctrine is not a bad one. I quite enjoy the first, especially in the beginning, the first one. So we're going to take that. That'll help us a little bit in the States, and we don't have an awful lot of soft attack at the moment anyway, where superior firepower would give us massive. Would give us massive advantages. We may be switching around because the successive ones are not that great. However, the 25 command power gain is not something to sneeze at, and that's 10 organization, 10% defense on infantry, whereas here we get the defense, the attack, and a 10 org. So I'm not too fussed about taking Grand Battle Plan, and it fits more for me into the German imperial way of thinking as well. So we'll go with that for now. 50 XP, and that should give us a if we are looking. Okay, Sardinia declared war. So Sardinia has joined. Sardinia has joined as well, interestingly enough, and has declared war on the Socialist Republic. And yeah, the vast public works have been removed because we've just finished that. So all in all, now we no longer have the Black Monday thing going on. So we still have the Victors of the Weltkrieg debuff. That's something we need to deal with a little bit. But other than that, most of the things are there, which means our production now went from -10 to +42, which means we are now hopefully finally getting to the point that we're actually producing sufficient equipment to actually outfit our troops, and the Navy hopefully gets through these things a little bit faster as well. We are still obviously building the Elsass class. Yes, I know it's a vanity project. 2 Strasbourg cruisers, and we may actually have to start kicking off a couple of battleships soon. So that's probably something design-wise we'll take a look at the next episode. That's it for me today. Thanks everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.